Whether we pull out paper bills or swipe a credit card, most of the transactions we engage in daily use currency. Indeed, money is the lifeblood of economies around the world. Currency refers to paper money or coins that are in circulation, but currency is actually only a small piece of the monetary economy and just one consideration when looking at the total money supply. Indeed, most money today exists as credit money or as electronic records stored in databases in banks or financial institutions. But still, the bread and butter of everyday transaction is currency. While currency technically refers to physical money, financial market refers to currencies as the unit of account of national economies and exchange rates that exist across countries. Because of the global nature of trade, parties often need to acquire foreign currencies as well. Governments have two basic policy choices when it comes to managing this process. The first is to offer a fixed exchange rate. Here, the government pledges its own currency to one of the major world currencies such as American dollar or the euro and set a firm exchange rate between the two denominations. To preserve the local exchange rate, the National Central Bank either buys or sells the currency to which it is pledged. The main goal of a fixed exchange rate is to create a sense of stability, especially when the nation's financial markets are less sophisticated than those in other parts of the world. Investors gain confidence by knowing the exact amount of the pledged currency they can acquire if they so desire. However, fixed exchange rates have also played a part in numerous currency crises in recent history. This can happen, for instance, when the purchase of local currency by the central bank leads to its overvaluation. The alternative is letting the system, that is the currency, to float. Instead of predetermining the price of foreign currency, the market dictates what the cost will be. The United States is just one of the major economies that uses floating exchange rates. In a floating system, the rule of supply and demand governs a foreign currency prices. Therefore, an increase in the amount of money will make the denominator cheaper for foreign investors, and an increase in the demand will strengthen the currency. Most African countries uses either of these two policy choices. Depending on the particular one you use, will determine whether your currency will be powerful or devalued. Today's video will be looking at the list of 10 powerful currencies in Africa. Our number 10 on the list is Seychelles rupee. The rupee is the official currency of Seychelles. The name was given by the native Seychawa dialect. The rupee uses the symbol capital S capital R or capital S capital C capital R or capital S capital R small e. The Seychelles rupee was introduced in 1914, circulating alongside the Mauritian rupee, which had previously replaced the British pound. The 1914 issuing of the rupee came only in the form of banknotes for 50 cents, 1, 5 and 10 rupees. Coins were first introduced in 1939 at values of 10, 25 cents and 1 rupee. Upon independence in 1976, the Seychelles Monetary Authority took control of the paper currency and issued new 10, 25, 50 and 100 rupee notes. Until 2008, the value of the Seychelles rupee was tied to a basket made up of 59% euros, 31% British pounds and 10% US dollars. The rupee was freely floated on November 2nd, 2008 and lost 43% of its value in the first day of trading. The primary industry in Seychelles is tourism, employing 30% of the workforce on the island. Tourism has seen dramatic growth in the past few decades, based on the opening of the Seychelles International Airport in 1971 and several governmental programs aimed at growing the sector. Agricultural products have declined from 33% of employment in 1960s to roughly 3% today. Primary agricultural products are sweet potatoes, vanilla, coconut, and cinnamon. Chief exports of the country are fish, copra, cinnamon, and vanilla. As of today, 4th January 2021, the Seychelles rupee is pegged at 21.21 rupee against $1. Our number 9 on the list is the Zambian kwacha. The official currency for Zambia is the kwacha and the ngwe coins. Before Zambia's independence in 1964, the country then known as Northern Rhodesia used the British pound as legal tender before migrating to the kwacha in 1965. The Currency Act of 1967 completely replaced the British pound with the Zambian kwacha banknotes and the ngwe coins. The new kwacha was then denominated into 6 denominations, namely 10 kwacha, 2 kwacha, 50 ngwen, 20 ngwen, 10 ngwen, and 5 ngwen denominations. In the 1967, the kwacha has undergone several structural changes aimed at ensuring that it supports economic activities while maintaining public confidence in the national currency. The agricultural sector is the backbone of the Zambian's economy. Although the sector represents only 2.6% of the country's GDP, it employs 54% of the workforce. The industrial sector is estimated to account for 36.3% of GDP and 11% of employment, mostly thanks to the mining, construction, and manufacturing subsector. Major industries of Zambia include copper mining and processing, construction, emerald mining, beverages, food, textiles, chemicals, fertilizer, and horticulture. Growth in the manufacturing industry is largely driven by the agro-processing and food and beverages, as well as the textile and leather subsectors. However, dependency on copper, which is the country's main export, makes Zambia vulnerable to fluctuation in the world commodity prices. As at 4th of January 2021, the Zambian kwacha is pegged at 21.14 kwacha against $1. Our number 8 on the list is the Egyptian pounds. The Egyptian pounds replaced the Egyptian piastre in 1834. The pound was tied first to the gold and silver bimetallic standard and then to the British pound sterling until 1962. Egypt founded the central bank in 1961, the Central Bank of Egypt located in Cairo. The bank became the Arab Republic's monetary authority and controlled the circulation of the Egyptian pound. In 1962, Egypt changed the valuation of the pound and pegged it to the US dollars. The Egyptian pound was devalued with the US dollars in 1973 and by itself in 1978. From that point, the pounds had a floating exchange rate. Seeing the value of the Egyptian pound fall, the Central Bank of Egypt stepped in and began a managed float in 2001. The managed float continued until 2016 when the bank decided in favor of allowing the currency to float freely again. With this decision, the value of the currency plummeted. After the central bank's decision to float the currency, the pound devalued by 32.3%. The economy of the Arab Republic of Egypt depends on agriculture, petroleum, and tourism. There is still a wide difference in income and the distribution of wealth. According to the 2017 World Bank data, Egypt has a lower middle income economy which is facing a great impact from inflation. The yearly gross domestic product growth per year is at 4.2, while the inflation deflator is at 22.9%. As at today, 4th January 2021, the Egyptian pound is pegged at 15.75 pounds against $1 US. Our number 7 on the list is the Eritrean Nakfa. The Nakfa is the currency of Eritrea and was introduced on 8 November 1997 to replace the Ethiopian birr. The currency takes its name from the Eritrea town of Nakfa. This is the town where the Eritreans had their major victory of the War of Independence. The Nakfa is pegged to the US dollars at a fixed rate of $1 US to 15 Nakfa at earlier times. It was officially pegged at $1 US to 13.5 Nakfa. The currency is not fully convertible, so black market rates available on the streets typically offered a rate of 32 Nakfa per dollar. Between 18 November and 31st December 2015, the Bank of Eritrea began replacement of all Nakfa banknotes. The banknote replacement initiative was designed to combat counterfeiting the informal economy, but primarily Sudanese human traffickers who had accepted payment in Nakfa banknotes in exchange for transporting would-be migrants primarily to Europe. A consequence of this was substantial amounts of the country's currency existed in vast boarding outside of Eritrea. The plan to replace the country's currency was top secret and designed to prevent human traffickers bringing their funds back in time to exchange for the new banknotes. On 1st January 2016, the old Nakfa banknote ceased being recognized as legal tender, rendering a external stockpile of currency worthless. In 2004, agriculture employed nearly 80% of the population, but accounted for only 12.4% of gross domestic product in Eritrea. The agriculture sector has improved with the use of modern farming equipment and techniques and dams. Nevertheless, it is comprised by a lack of financial service and investment. Major agricultural products are sorghum, barley, beans, dairy products, lentil, meat, millet, leather, turf, and wheat. As at today, 4th January 2021, the Eritrean Nakfa is still pegged at 15 Nakfa against $1. Our number 6 on the list is the South African Rand. The Rand was established as the official South African currency on 14th February 1961 and has since developed into a liquid emerging market currency, most commonly traded against the US dollars. Prior to its establishment as legal tender, South Africa as a British colony operated under the British tender of pence, pounds and shillings. When the Rand debuted, it traded at 2 Rand to the pound or 10 shillings to the Rand. Coming off of the strong base of the South African pound was valued as a yearly average stronger than the US dollars, debuting at 72 cents to the dollar in 1961. Despite enjoying strong value amid an ever-changing international economic climate, it was the system of apartheid in South Africa which ultimately caused Rand to lose its footing on the global market. In June 1977, the South African authority decided to decline the Rand from the dollar and introduce a policy of independent managed floating. At the time, the Rand was trading at 87 cents to the dollar. Speaking in 2001, the then sub-governor, Tito Mboweni, explained that during the period of 1974 to 1978, the level at which the Rand was pegged to the dollar has been changed 6 times. The economy of South Africa is the 3rd largest in Africa. As a manufacturing hub, it is the most industrialized, technologically advanced and diversified economy on the African continent. South Africa is an upper middle income economy, one of only 8 such countries in Africa. South Africa is rich in a variety of minerals. In addition to diamond and gold, the country also contains reserves of iron ore, platinum, manganese, chromium, copper, uranium, silver, beryllium, and titanium. No commercially exploitable deposits of petroleum have been found, but there are moderate quantities of natural gas located off the south coast, and synthetic fuel is made from coal at 2 large plants in the province of Free State and Mpumalanga. As of today, 4th January 2021, the South African Rand is pegged at 14.69 Rand against the US dollar. Our number 5 on the list is the Botswana Pula. At the time of independence in 1966, Botswana was a member of the Rand monetary area, and the South African Rand served as the national currency. However, with the decision announced on September 6, 1974 to withdraw from the Rand monetary area, the country was committed to introducing a new currency. This required substantial preparation, including choosing the name for the currency and how much and in what denomination it should be produced. The new national currency was launched on August 23, 1976, subsequently known as Pula Day. An initial period of 100 days was allowed for the exchange of Rand for Pula, during which time the parity between the two currencies was guaranteed. Various standby arrangements were also put in place to ensure enough supply of foreign exchange should the conversion take longer than expected. However, these were quickly cancelled as it soon became clear that the new currency was being enthusiastically received by the public. A large proportion of the rand circulating in Botswana was exchanged within a few weeks of Pula Day. At the time of launching the Pula, the denomination structure consisted of 4 notes: 1 Pula, 2 Pula, 5 Pula, and 10 Pulas. The economy of Botswana is currently one of the world's fastest growing economies, averaging about 5% per annum over the past decades. This growth is probably because Botswana is abundant in natural resources such as diamond, silver, copper, nickel, coal, soda ash, potash, and iron ore. Almost 70 to 80% of export earnings are attributed to diamond mining. The mining sector of the country, especially diamond mining, plays a dominant role. As of today, 4th January 2021, the Botswana Pula is pegged at 10.85 Pula against $1. Our number 4 on the list is the Moroccan dirham. The word dirham came from the Romans word denarius. Before the introduction of modern coinage in 1882, Morocco issued copper coin denominated in phallus, silver coin denominated in dirham, and gold coin denominated in benduqi. In 1882, the dirham became a part of the Moroccan real, with 50 mazunas being equal to 10 dirham and 1 real. When Morocco became a French state in 1921, it switched to the Moroccan franc currency. The dirham was reintroduced in 1960. It replaced the Moroccan franc as the major unit of currency, but until 1974, the franc continued to circulate with 1 dirham equaling 10 franc. In 1977, a new design of banknotes was introduced and the National Bank took over the printing of banknotes. Morocco's main economic problems are foreign trade, achieving substantial economic growth, restraining government spending, and reducing constraints on private activities. In the year 2002, significant shortage lowered activities in the agricultural sector, which led to dormant economy. Morocco's economy was boosted after a successful huge transaction from the sale of mobile cell phone licenses and from privatizing the state-owned telecommunication and tobacco companies. The state's long-term challenges included preparing the economy for free trading with other countries, as well as improving education and attracting foreign investors in order to maintain living standards and job opportunities for Morocco's youth. Morocco's key natural resources include phosphate, zinc, manganese, and iron ore. Our number 3 on the list is the Ghanaian cedis. After independence, Ghana separated itself from the British West African pound, which was the currency of the British colonies in the region. The new republic's first independent currency was the Ghanaian pounds. In 1965, Ghana decided to leave the British colonial monetary system and adopt the widely accepted decimal system. The African name cedi was introduced in place of the old British pound system. Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, introduced cedi notes and peso coins in July 1965 to replace the Ghanaian pounds, shillings, and pence. The cedi bore the portrait of the president and was equivalent to 8 shillings and 4 pence. After the February 1966 military coup, the new leader wanted to remove the face of Nkrumah from the banknotes. The new cedi was worth 1.2 cedi, which made it equivalent to half of a pound sterling. At its introduction, decades of high inflation devalued the new cedi, so that in 2007, The largest of the new CD banknotes, the 20,000 notes, had a value of about $2. The new CD was gradually phased out in 2007 in favor of the Ghana CDs at an exchange rate of 1:10,000. By removing 4 digits, the Ghana CD became the highest denomination currency and used in Africa. It has since fallen about 20% of its original purchasing power when the currency was redenominated. The economy of Ghana has a diverse and rich resource base, including the manufacturing and exportation, digital technology goods, automotive and ship construction. Agriculture remains the major economic sector, providing income for nearly half of Ghanaians. The country is endowed with rich natural resources: timber, gold, diamond, bauxite, manganese, and oil, contributing to making Ghana among the wealthiest nations in West Africa. As of today, 4th January 2021, the Ghanaian cedis is pegged at 5.88 Ghana cedis against $1. Our number 2 on the list is the Tunisian dinar. The dinar was introduced in 1960, having been established as a unit of account in 1958. It replaced the franc at a rate of 1,000 francs against 1 dinar. The dinar did not follow the devaluation of the French franc in 1958. Thus, the exchange rate pegged was abandoned. Instead, a peg to the United States dollar of 1 dinar against $2.38 was established, which was maintained until 1964, when the dinar devaluated to 1 dinar against $1.9. This second rate was held until the dollar was devaluated in 1971. Tunisia had a historical low inflation. The dinar was less volatile in 2000 to 2010 than the currencies of its oil-imported neighbors Egypt and Morocco. Inflation was 4.9% in fiscal year 2007 to 2008 and 3.5% in fiscal year 2008 to 2009. However, the value of the country has been falling since then, and between 2008 and 2018, the dinar depreciated by about 55% against the US dollars. The economy of Tunisia is in the process of being liberalized after decades of heavy state directions and participation in the country's economy. Prudent economic and fiscal planning have resulted in moderate but sustained growth for over a decade. Tunisia's economy growth historically has depended on oil, phosphates, agri-food products, car parts manufacturing, and tourism. In the World Economic Forum Global Competitiveness Report for 2015 to 2016, Tunisia ranked in 92nd place. As of today, 4th February 2021, the Tunisian dinar is pegged at 2.70 dinar against $1. Our number 1 on the list is the Libya dinar. When Libya was a part of the Ottoman Empire, the country used the Ottoman quiche, issuing some coin locally until 1844. When Italy took over the country in 1911, the Italian lira was introduced. In 1943, Libya was split into French and British Mandate territories. Algeria franc were used in the French territory, while Tripolitanian lira issued by the British military authorities were used in the British Mandate. In 1951, the pound was introduced, replacing the franc and the lira at rate of £1 being equal to 480 lira and 980 franc. The pound was replaced at par by the dinar in 1971, following the Libyan Revolution of 1968. The currency is issued by the Central Bank of Libya, which also supervises the banking system and regulates credit. In 1972, the Libyan Arab Foreign Bank was established to deal with overseas investments. The economy of Libya depends primarily on revenue from the petroleum sector, which represents over 95% of export earnings and 60% of GDP. These oil revenues and a small population have given Libya one of the highest nominal per capita GDP in Africa. After 2000, Libya recorded favorable growth rates with an estimated 10.6% growth of GDP in 2010. This development was interrupted by the Libyan civil war, which resulted in contraction of the economy by 62.1% in 2011. After the war, the economy rebounded by 104.5% in 2012, but then crashed again following the Second Libya Civil War. Currently, Libya's per capita PPP GDP stands at about 62% of its pre-war levels. As of today, 1st January 2021, the Libyan dinar is pegged at 1.34 dinar against $1.